AI Copilot. It's a really interesting concept that today I wanted to dig a little bit deeper talk about a tweet from Fabrizio and some lines from Reid Hoffman about this concept of AI teammates in the future. So one of the things that particularly interests me is the impact on work that AI is going to have. Obviously, in the initial stages, probably over the next 2 years, it's going to be about how it moves through the stages of helping us do smaller research, administration-based errands, and solving those core problems. And obviously that can naturally change in pace. So it may be a year, maybe 3 years, but quite an interesting timeline with all of the new sort of GPT updates. But one of the big things is in the future, we are going to have some sort of co-pilot system in place where likely most jobs and professions will have a co-pilot. And it's not just myself that believes this theory, it's also Reid Hoffman. Now, Reid Hoffman writes in his article that there's going to be different versions of the co-pilot that are equally possible for virtually any profession, talking about a co-pilot for attorneys and helping them to draft contracts, motions, briefs, and other legal documents. Now, obviously, when we talk about co-pilots, we probably think, okay, it's going to take over our job. Well, I don't think that it will, at the start at least, in this AI teammate or co-pilot phase. What will happen is our jobs will be about decision-making and skill-based stuff. It will be about checking stuff on credibility and accuracy versus actually doing the bulk of the work. For example, with this attorney example, it would probably be approving that, checking and making sure that we make the right decisions around those pieces of contracts that we send out, or with architects, making sure that we optimize the space, but checking that those optimizations are best built for it. And if not, explaining to the AI model or yourself how to adapt it to be better suited for that. That brings me to a tweet from Fabrizio who says that likely somebody's working on an AI teammate and that'll likely potentially cost $500 per month or more. Learnings from the code base and conversations with your team and ChatGPT, but customized, and obviously a few other elements around the sort of actions that it will do. This is a very interesting theory to me, at least, because what it does is it puts a difficult position in what we would do with hiring, but it also saves a lot of time with onboarding. So when it comes to the hiring side of stuff, it would be difficult to necessarily hire an additional person for say £1,000, £2,000 or $2,000 per month, then to hire an additional AI assistant to do some of this ground level work in administrating and managing stuff. So having that decision as a company will be a completely different change. It will be very hard to move away from the fact that we're hiring somebody to do this, but also a no-brainer when it comes to financial side of stuff. And what Fabrizio mentions here about basically understanding the code base and conversations from the team is you would plug it in with Slack or some other thing, and it would understand the context of all conversations that you've had, how projects have progressed and how they've dropped off maybe, be able to understand all the data and knowledge that you and your team have, maybe for a service like Notion or through SharePoint, etc. What it would do is it would use that information to make the context of the things that you go and tell it to do better and higher quality. So really do see that this AI co-pilot element is going to be pretty big for companies, and it's almost like getting the most efficient new teammates adding to your company staff without adding overheads of payroll, without adding overheads of managing them, but also expanding the opportunity of the company. I think one of the biggest things is where this will go in terms of the direction of what people decide to do with that elevated time. Will they decide to make the company bigger and bolder and expand the vision? Or will they decide to produce better quality stuff and reduce their workload and try to keep their workload to a minimum? I think it will probably be the focusing on doing more and growing and adapting. And I think we'll see a lot of companies that were not particularly focused on growth because of constraints they had in the past, actually evolve and improve that aspect. So I think that's going to be a really interesting transition in the next couple of years. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the AI Copilot stuff because I thought it was quite interesting, and these are some great tweets that people are sharing about sort of conceptual stuff that are definitely interesting to me. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video. 2 videos in a week. Please do subscribe if you're new. I'm planning to do many more videos, including opinions on productivity tools and which is best for you. Anyway, folks, see you in the next video. Cheerio.